Welcome to Brandywine Meadows, the hike. I'm starting here with the Forestry Service Road. I think I'm approaching the trailhead. This road so far has made me a little anxious, but it hasn't been terrible. In fact, this part right here is better. I'm doing it in a Mazda 3. So one of the smallest sedans out there. I guess not the very smallest, but small. And it seems to be taking it fine. I did this hike about 10 years ago, and I went further up the forestry road than I should have. And I ended up puncturing a tire. Now, I think I took a fork somewhere to the upper parking lot, and I have not honestly seen a fork like that yet. So it could be that, I guess it's possible that I missed it, or that I just have not come to it yet. I'm not sure. But I just wanted to offer you this update on the road, because I know for me, the driving and parking situation was one of my biggest questions about Brandywine Meadows. And I think so far so good. I'm taking a deep breath and sending up a prayer because, like I said, I don't want to end up with a flat tire. I have not seen any other cars or people up here. So it's a pretty desolate area. There does, at last check, there does seem to be cell signal though, which is nice. At least down here. Okay, that's it for now. Onward we go. Okay, so this is the fork that I was expecting, and I'll give you a close look at the green sign there. So you can see the sign there. It says upper trailhead, steep road 5 kilometers, lower parking lot 2 kilometers. I have done enough research to understand that the upper trailhead, this steep road here, 5 kilometers, is out. So I'm not going to attempt that, but I am curious about the lower parking lot. Let's take a look at the condition there. All right, you'll have to bear with my keys jangling against the steering column here, but the drive so far is pretty bumpy, but it doesn't look impossible and nothing's washed out. So my little Mazda 3 is able to take it so far, and this road is supposed to be only 2 kilometers, remember. One of the reviews that I watched or read mentioned that in a small car they were not able to get even to this lower parking lot, which is supposed to be a tamer drive. So I am curious to see if the road ahead is washed out somewhere, or if it actually is impossible. We will find out. So far my little Mazda is doing a great job. At least as far as I know, no tire punctures. I did have a warning light recently for tire rotation, so I hope I'm not exposing some bald tires to some sharp rocks here. One more note is that just ahead of me is a group of 3 people on ATVs, and I know there are ATV tours in the area, so you will see, or you may see, some other traffic. Okay, this is getting interesting. Definitely bumpier, and I'm seeing some larger rocks. I'm going to put the phone down and focus on avoiding a puncture here. All right, the time is 11:24. I'm parking my car not at the lower trailhead, but at this pullover point. I'm sort of trusting the wisdom of those who have gone before, including some larger vehicles here. So up the road we go, and let's get moving, finding the lower trailhead. Time for another update. We've got the lower parking lot. We've got an old decrepit looking maybe outhouse over there. We've got the sound of running water. It seems to be very close by. And we've got the trailhead, the lower trailhead. so I'm in good shape here. We walked 700 meters from where we parked the cars, and there's just one car here in the parking lot, but honestly, this road is not too badly washed out. If you've got anything tougher than a small sedan, I'd say you can probably make it. You can probably get here without too much trouble. Just take it slow and careful, and you should be able to make it up this road to the lower parking lot. So the time again is 11:36, and we're going to hit the trail. We're officially on the trail now. And keep in mind, of course, when I say on the trail, yes, this is officially the trail from the lower parking lot, but we are starting out a good deal down slope and further back from our friends who are able to drive up to the upper parking lot in their larger trucks and SUVs. So we've got some ground to make up compared to them. I think they basically start at the trailhead, or maybe 20 minutes from the trailhead, something like that. It's not too bad of a hike, or not too great of a distance before they get the nice views. But down here for the lower parking lot peasants, we've got some work to do. So this is what the early trail looks like, and that's a steep ascent, as I was expecting. Time is 12 p.m. We've gone 1.5K since parking the car. That's not an amazing pace, but I'll go easy on myself since this trail is pretty steep. It's not the roughest and most difficult, but it's also not the easiest. You can see a lot of root matter stepping up and up here. So the time is 12:25, and the terrain has made a pivot. We've got a creek or a river down to our left, and we're walking across level-ish ground. We've got a whole bunch of these sort of floating boardwalks that help us get through the wet stuff. I'd imagine at some seasons this is actually a lot wetter, but you've got runoff. You can see some of it there. Runoff making its way down through and under the trail to the fast water below me, down to my left. So, still no views at this point, but I think the hardest part of it is probably over. I think we'll soon find out. Time is 12:39, so we've been on the trail for roughly an hour and a quarter, and we've had another terrain change. So since I left you last, we did a bunch of climbing, more of the fairly aggressive uphill through roots and uneven terrain. And now we've got this, and I don't know what comes next, but it feels like we're almost in the meadow. And again, I did this trail about 10 years ago, so my memory is not great, but I don't see much climbing ahead. I just see a lot of nice stuff. So I'm hopeful. This is hopeful. Just like I said, an hour and a quarter on the trail, an hour and maybe 30 minutes, 25 minutes from the car, and you're in some pretty sweet topography. And it only gets better from here. Here's some information. Warnings about bears and prohibitions against camping, although if you go by the All Trails site, that is vehemently rejected by the people there. Want to remember for next time that downstream from this waterfall, we've actually got really nice water tables. You can sit your butt right down and have lunch, and that'd be a really refreshing experience. So at the end of the meadow, you've got this waterfall and you've got this waterfall. It really is a wonderful playground. And I've had a fun time exploring and finding some new spots, snapping some pics, but it's time to head back down the valley. So time is 2:50. I'll have to do the math later on how long my break time was, but here we go. I estimate probably 45 minutes to the trailhead, or to the end of the trailhead, the end of the meadow, 3:30 or so, and then another hour back to the car. If I stop to snap some pics, maybe 5 o'clock. Sometimes people ask me about, hey Tim, how can you drink straight from the creeks? And my answer is, well, if I know where the source is, so I can see the source right there, it's melting from snow higher up, and it's coming down these rocks. It's running fast, so bacteria is not really able to form, and it's cold. This water is going to be safe to drink. I know it may not be perfect, but this water, it's drinkable. Despite the no camping signs, this is a pretty good spot. So if you're willing to brave the prohibition, here's where you would do it. 2 waterfalls in sight and pretty soft, level looking ground. There's actually no shortage of camping spots, so if you keep coming back, this is a nice spot too. Nice and relatively sandy, good water source, great views. This is paradise. The time is 3:08 and not really walking too intensely yet. Kind of just feeling the vibe to enjoy this sacred moment, these last sacred moments. I say last because this is kind of my last week of summer vacation, and the rest of this week the forecast is not looking agreeable. So I think this is the last time I'll get up here in the Alpine this year. Thinking about that, I haven't posted as much this year, this season, but if you're enjoying the content here on Sea to Summit Adventures, I would be so grateful for your subscribe. If you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button and like the video, that really helps me and pushes me a little closer to my goal of 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. Oh, and if you have your own hiking channel, there are some real beauties here in BC. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know who you are. I'd love to see your work. Thank you. So I remember the middle part of the meadow as a little more beautiful than this. Right now it is basically just marshy. Oh, I see another campsite there. Yeah, I'd call that a campsite. Anyway, it's not as beautiful down here, but still, taken as a whole, this valley is incredible. Oh, there's a beautiful butterfly. You probably just heard a gust of wind as well. And I will say I've been so thankful for that because the bugs have been amazing. Truthfully, I was probably bothered by 1 or 2 flies, let's say. when I stopped at the end of the valley, but I mean, come on, that's not too bad. And I'm not sure if I have any bites. Haven't really seen mosquitoes, and yeah, it's been really, really nice, really relaxing. I'm at the front of the valley, sort of the opening end, and there are more great camping spots. So this is a dream valley, dream meadows to camp in. So it is 3:30, and as projected, I'm leaving the valley, leaving the meadows. I keep calling it a valley. It feels like a valley. I guess either term is not wrong, right? And so it should be a sort of a 5-10 minute walk, pleasant walk back to the forest. And I just need to make sure to get onto the trail to the lower parking lot. Make sure I don't head off to the upper parking lot. I think those are two different trails. So I just need to be careful here, and I am relying on my All Trails app, downloaded map for that, which you can use, by the way, even when you are off the network. All right, I'm on the way back down, and I've reached what appears to be a pretty well-worn fork. And I think this may be the fork between the upper parking lot here on the left and the lower parking lot on the right. Even though the one on the right seems to be going up and the one on the left is going down, but I think that is probably what is happening here. I will confirm on the All Trails app shortly, but just wanted to point out that fork. So my theory appears to be correct, according to All Trails. I don't know for sure that that left fork goes to the upper parking lot, but again, there is a point. There has to be a point where they break off, because the lots are in two very different places. Time update, 3:37. Time is 3:47, and I'm back on the boardwalks. Yeah, these, as I said before, these are great, helpful. I can see some of these slanted ones getting a little slick on a wet day. Personally, that's one reason why I basically only hike in clear blue, but if you are hiking in overcast or wet conditions, just be careful. The time is 4:21, and I'm back at the lower parking lot. So I think I made it down from the parking lot, from the meadows, the end of the meadows to the parking lot in 50 minutes. That was fun. Now I've got to walk about half a kilometer or so to my own car. What a day. This is why I wait for the bluebird. I am back at the car at exactly 4:30. So 5 hours away from car. So as I cruise out of here, and I know my windshield's a little dirty, I'll try to give you some more information about the condition of the road. Right here, it's not bad. Overall, I have to say I was very impressed. There are some stretches where you need to keep your head up for big rocks that might damage your little tires. But again, I did not see, and I was pleased to report this, I did not see sections of road that were washed out. This is nothing like Mount Shem, which I went up last year. This is a decent little road, and again, I'm in a Mazda 3, so draw your own conclusions. There were other cars that did not go all the way to the lower parking lot, but I think somebody daring in a larger sedan with tires they trust, they probably could have. And you could certainly make it to within a 10-minute walk of the lower parking lot. All right, back to focusing on the road. And once you get past the fork, which I have done, the road conditions do get a lot better. It's still bumpy, and I know for some that might be uncomfortable, but if you're at all comfortable on gravel roads, this will be no problemo.